Many thanks for choosing us. President Akufo-Addo has assured Ghanaians that government is working to secure reliable and regular sources of affordable petroleum products for the Ghanaian market. Petroleum prices have more than doubled within a spate of 2 months. The president, addressing the country on measures to deal with the ailing economy, explained that he feels the intolerable pressure this is putting on families and businesses and the devaluation of capital of traders. The president says it is expected that the arrangement made by government, when successful, coupled with a stable currency, will halt the escalation of fuel prices and bring relief to us. Listen.
I know that the increasing cost of living is the #1 concern for all of us. It is driven by fast escalating fuel prices at the pumps, which is caused by high crude oil prices on the world market and our depreciated currency. I know that this is putting intolerable pressure on families and businesses. I know that people are being driven to make choices they should not have to make. And I know that it has led to the devaluation of capital of traders and painfully accumulated savings. Furthermore, government is working to secure reliable and regular sources of affordable petroleum products for the Ghanaian market. It is expected that this arrangement, when successful, coupled with a stable currency, will halt the escalation of fuel prices and bring relief to us all. I hear from the market queens also that another factor fueling the high prices is the high margins that some traders are slapping on goods for fear of future higher costs. I say to our traders, we are all in this together. Please, let us be measured in the margins we seek. I have great respect and admiration for the ingenuity and hard work of our traders, especially those that take on the distribution of foodstuffs around the country. And I would hesitate to join in calling them names. I do make a heartfelt appeal that we all keep an eye out for the greater good and not try to make the utmost profits out of the current difficulties. In language that every market woman and indeed every trader in our country understands, let me say that the basic problem we face is that we're not making as much money as we need to spend. And what little money we do make is going to pay for the debts we have contracted to fund the development projects we must have. Not enough of us are paying our taxes. Not enough of us are producing to generate the revenues that we need. Nevertheless, my ambitions for Ghana remain high.
Well, the Institute of Energy Security is predicting that petrol prices will increase further to 18 cedis, while diesel will be hovering around 20 cedis. Its Executive Director, Nana Mwasechi, joins me via Zoom for more on this. I'm grateful for your time this afternoon. You know how dire our situation has been. Indeed, you have predicted that we'll soon pay more for fuel. The president says government is working to secure reliable and regular sources of affordable petroleum so that it will bring relief to Ghanaians. Is that what it will really take to resolve our problem?
Good afternoon to you, Aisha, and to your viewers. Well, the president's pronouncement is a good one because of the happenings both on the local markets and on the international markets. However, the president stopped short of providing clarity on what exactly they want to do so as to bring that form of relief to the consumer in terms of adequate supply and also a fairly priced commodity. So the questions that we ask is, which state entity are they going to use to bring in this fuel, this consistent fuel supply? Are they going to use a state entity that have a good balance sheet to be able to bring in that adequate supply of fuel? Because today we will need more than $450 million on monthly basis to bring in the fuel that we require. The next thing is, if they're not going to use a state entity, are they going to use an existing BDC or a third party? Any existing BDC is going through the same problems that we have today. And so it will require a different form of engineering to ensure that we have adequate supply and we have fairly priced products on the market. If they introduce a third party outside the BDC, then the third party will inflate the operational value chain, and that comes at a cost to also Ghanaians. Are they going to pick it directly from a refinery, or they will pick it from an oil trading company that exists in the system? Both BDCs and OTCs are bleeding because they are seeing decline in the value of their currencies. A BDC is bleeding because it collects the money in cedis, have to go and convert it into dollar and go and pay an OTC. And so their working capital on a daily basis is seeing an erosion. And so we will require some form of clarity on President's pronouncement. What we will wish to see is that we should have a stable currency that assures some form of predictability for the BDCs, so they know that we can project where dollar will be before we bring in the products, so as to not to get those shocks. The next thing is, the BDCs will also want to see that there is adequate supply of forex on the market. That will also guarantee adequate and constant supply of fuel on the market. And so we need more clarity on this. Further and better particulars will be necessary for us to get assurance that the president and his team are bringing something different from what exists in the system.
So you would agree that the rate at which prices of petrol and diesel are increasing is alarming. How can we reverse this trend of almost daily increase on petroleum products?
Aisha, what we need to do is to expect of the government to manage that forex exposure, halt the consistent decline in the value of the CD, and so that it doesn't translate, or the BDCs don't price it in for the consumer. The next thing you have to do is that let your refinery, let your bulk oil storage and transportation company limited work, because BOSS is there to keep strategic fuel stock. And if they're able to manage this well, it also will translate into savings for the consumer. The next thing is that at a time like this, we expect of government to also subsidize this fuel, not by doling out free money, but then go back to funds, including the Price Stabilization and Recovery Levy Fund. There is money sitting in there, use it to cushion consumers. The other thing is that we projected that this year we're going to sell our own crude oil for not more than $70 per barrel. Today is selling above $90 per barrel. That $20 margin means that we are getting some form of free cash flow, and we can use that money to also cushion the consumer. And so there are many ways that we can look at this.
I'm grateful for your time. Nana Amoasechi is the Executive Director of the Institute of Energy Security. Meanwhile, General Secretary of the General Agricultural Workers Union, Edward Kariwa, says the President's address is hopeless. Reacting to the President's pledge to reduce the import of agricultural produce, Mr. Kariwa says the promises of the President are not practical in addressing the current need of food producers. He spoke on News Desk.
The President's address, did it give you any hope?
No, certainly no. I have not seen any hope from it. Because, you see, one of them was, he said that we'll clamp down, Bank of Ghana said we'll clamp down on black market, forex exchange dealers, and so on. Look, I'm telling you, just walk around. Look, get to airport bus stop.
Yeah.
You will see, these are not even Ghanaians, they are foreigners. Come and they are standing in front there. And the police station is just there. The police walk around there. They don't do anything. So you see, if you now come and tell us that you are going to clamp down, I don't know what they are doing. Look, if he must put his office in order. When I say his office, is to say that he has control over these institutions that are supposed to implement certain laws in this country. He should get them to do that. He should get them to do that. We don't even want to hear him talk. We want to see changes. Simple. Look, the whole hope on IMF is I don't know why we don't learn lessons. 16 times we have gone there, IMF has not solved our problem. The 15th time, we are now dependent on them. We were dependent on e-levy. That when e-levy comes, every solution, every problem that we have will be solved. Where is the e-levy? We should all be bracing ourselves for further challenges because government outlook is wrong. Government thinking is wrong. Because if you put your hopes on IMF, forget it. IMF is never there to solve all your problems. IMF is not going to solve your galamsey problems. IMF is not going to solve the poor roads your farm gets. IMF is not going to come and then it will reduce the cost of production at the farm gate. IMF is not going to solve the indiscipline and the corruption and the rest. You know, the ineptitude. So, for me, I don't have hope in it because where they are looking for the solutions.
Well, listen to Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu on what he thinks about the president's speech last night. He spoke on the Super Morning Show.
And failed to radiate hope, and he failed to provide concrete solutions to the urgent economic crisis facing our country. Now, if you look at his speech, coincidentally, that is what you just highlighted. When he stated that inflation has eaten away people's income, purchasing power is gone, real income of salaried workers, civil servants is gone, Ghanaians are reeling under unprecedented excruciating hardship, unprecedented rise in cost of living, unprecedented rise in the cost of doing business. But clever as he was, he states, and I quote, that over the years, the highest rise in cost of living over a generation. Then these are my emphasis, the highest rise in government borrowing in over 50 years. The president failed to take and accept responsibility for leading Ghana into this economic crisis. For me, that is my deepest concern and worry. I mean, if you look at the paragraph well, he certainly captures the issue facing us as a country: rising inflation, rising cost of living, highest rise in government borrowing. I mean, he inherited an economy in 2017 with 120 billion. At the time, he himself described it as colossal, 122 billion Auditor General report. Today, we are at 450 billion, marching towards 500 billion as projected by the World Bank. Now, it was more or less a mini 2023 budget statement that the president read, without any concrete. Many of the issues he raised were earlier raised by this budget statement of 2022, when he said that they wanted to increase revenue as a percentage of GDP from 13% to 18%. Remember, even the politics of e-levy, this was their emphasis. So what happened? Nothing was achieved. Now, if you look again cleverly, he goes to say greatest threat of unemployment in peacetime, then he wades into the world. No, he must stay in Ghana. When he says 100 million people being pushed into extreme poverty, he must emphasize the number of young people who are unemployed and who are likely to be unemployed and cannot see any future in the next decade of their life, and how much that will contribute to exacerbating poverty.
Still on the reactions of the president's address on the economy, ace broadcaster Kwesi Dakwa says the president did not offer any solution to the challenges confronting Ghanaians at the moment. Speaking on the AM show Monday, Kwesi Dakwa said the president is not in charge of affairs in his government.
To the French. All of culture is embedded in language. And when he said it, I felt heartbroken. Because that was a statement to the populace who were speculating about where we are going and how the city is performing badly. He thinks if you talk down the money, then the money will go down. No, that's not true.
It isn't?
No, if you talk down Joy FM will not come crumbling down so long as they have a success criteria and are working assiduously to ensure that the success criteria is in place. You know, as a French scholar too, I think the better one he could have used was what is actually about his governance, which is l'argent n'y pas d'odeur. Because if you look at the fact that in Kufuor's regime, in Kufuor's administration, a man who was known to be corrupt eventually was appointed by Nanado to become the head of the Public Procurement Authority, then it tells you that he has no problem with money, no matter the smell of it. L'argent n'y a pas d'odeur. Sika ni pampang. Edagotemu, if you crom for ho, if you ni papa ho, and fun ho. And have you heard this nonsense about the president's daughter being given a contract to paint the bridges? I can list the 12 top artists in Ghana today because I have bought from at least 10 of them since I was 18 years old when I started collecting paintings. Sam Bentel is one of them. Atu Delaki is one of them.
These are names I recognize.
Kudo is one of them. My brother Nick Kowalski is one of them. Larry Otu is one of them. If we have a painting contract, how does it go to a member of my family because I'm the president?
But have you run your checks to find out why she got the contract?
You see, I'm literate.
That is assuming she actually got the contract?
I am a trained journalist. I'll tell you something. You see, common sense will tell you that sometimes you don't do something just because of the optics. So the optics is such that when you hear that somebody who you have appointed, like the PPA was doing, is giving contracts to themselves or somebody in their family, you will have no moral authority to challenge them. Now, Mahama built an airport, I'm told. Go and find out. And I'm not going to accuse anybody, but go and find out who is in charge of the duty-free shops over there.
You're talking of Terminal 3.
So who is in charge of the duty-free shops over there? Are they also linked to the presidency? Are we running a government of selfishness and greed and then telling the poor people who are struggling that Sikam PDD? When a young man has died because of two cities, a fare had been raised from 5 cities 50 pesos to 7
I know the incident you're referring to.
Whatever pesos.
Right.
And he was fighting over this and he's been killed. Look, Sika Emperof, that's what we say. But Dede, more na mama Dede abanti na monsanka se Sika Mpedede.
Well, in the Ashanti region, the powerhouse of the ruling New Patriotic Party, some residents have expressed discontentment of the president's address on the economy yesterday. They spoke to Love FM's Emmanuel Bright Kweku, and they've described the address as empty, one that lacks pragmatic steps to salvage the sinking economy.
So yesterday, the president gave an address regarding the economy on ways to revive or restore the current economic situation in the country. And we have been interacting with some residents here in the Ashanti region. And here's what they've been telling us.
To be very honest, no, he didn't. Why would I say so? So what we're expecting from Nanado's speech was a speech of reassurance. Ghanaians were expecting him to give us a speech that would make us feel happier. Russia-Ukraine war, COVID, worried. These are conversations we've had everywhere. We hear it every single day happening. But the question is, what are we supposed to see? You still get us hearing blames of we are not paying taxes. Then the question is, what happened to e-levy? You hear him telling us about inflation rates. What exactly are the kind of differences we're expecting to see? We didn't get any of that from the speech yesterday. For me, I felt like it was a below par speech for the president, and it's not something we were supposed to see. Why would I say such a thing? Notice fully well that after the speech, it didn't calm anybody down. People are angry this morning. When I even entered the Trotsky to Tech Junction, everybody in the car was angry. The only big thing you hear is Sikam Pedede. So what do you get from the Sikam Pedede? Is it that we are the ones making the noise, or the money is the one making the noise? We think we need more clarity, because most of the things are like, they are just there. We are not getting the kind of impact we have it to have. So
but I fail. Nobody, how many years in it? Any 6 and kind of 2 years. I fail mom. And I'm a Casadiano. And I'm a Shams and Kasha Matrima, Oshama Atrema.
The president's address did not go down well. If he knew these measures earlier, he would have implemented them, but not now, when he is about leaving office. Even his comments about money disliking noise was unhealthy.
It was about 40 something, and you scan on much and scam paid the design. You get the scam paid that, which has any say. Scam paid the Dennis, will you show off? Membuana, yes, and I'm Sanka way, or Chaka way, and the VAT near the assistance we scam paid it.
Yet to the more thing, and no my boy, why I say a grenade, ye Nippano or mining any Nippanin now, and no money too much. No man paying so be and 1.2. I got idea 50 CDs, 5 million.
We as a people must be considerate about the profit margins we want to make. We are in all this together. Even though the president is putting in place some measures, it can't restore the economy.
Especially, maybe a Juma. I'm not being a Juma, near 2 million krana because of but here day, yet one count. Yes, a Juma, a moment, mere Juma.
Oh, if you saw to me and Sabah Ghana, if you say, you can't well make it all count once MCC last time. In the next 3 days, going up there with Cocotofu, you should diesel car. We talk for 18.99 pesos in Ghana as a per liter. Now, if you say the consumer of it, maybe I'm one more here.
I think what he is rolling out would help, especially with the fuel. Some of us aren't breaking even. So if he is in talks with international fuel marketers for affordable ones, then it should help.
Around 3:30. Now, new time I was a pump, but my number is 4 hours consumed a day. Now, Borosa, my 4 on the side, but me just coming here and so, Mammy a day, airport coffee. Tis a bit my filling station be on us, bit mama prices in a aquaform Kakrana, Yens, Yahoba Harry, and Kafise, Kababoy and Semaya, the Aman name of power.
Memo is Uncle Huno. I Uncle Huno didn't know because who speech, you know, or say a friend say, over to Akuchiaso. Now I could tell us over Bettesono. For the video was what Akuchiaso.
His speech was empty. He indicated he was going to cut down on some government salaries, which I doubt he would.
We need after we the team good in our new say I go for me president, but step it down. Nanka Ghana for Kabon say Yobosi. I say
So generally, residents here in the Ashanti region are saying that the president's address yesterday on the economy is only a knee-jerk reaction. They were actually hoping that the president would take pragmatic steps, including the removal of Ken Oforiatta, who is the finance minister from post. From here at Kumasi, my name is Emmanuel Bright-Kwiku.
And back here in Accra, my name is Aisha Ibrahim. Let's go straight to Parliament. Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, has mounted a strong defense of his decision to refer the Privileges Committee report on absentee MPs to the entire House for a vote. In his ruling, which has been criticized by the NPP MPs, the Speaker said a decision on representation is such a crucial one that cannot be left to only a few persons. The majority have indicated their intention to challenge the ruling, with an NPP MP already headed to the Supreme Court. Speaking to journalists, the Speaker said his ruling was apt.
If you've had access to read the report, you understand the basis of my ruling. You know, representation is so key to democratic governance, to be left to the subjective decision of any individual or group of people. It must be the whole. And that report, after reading that report, I went behind the report to do investigation as to what happened in committee meetings. And I'm not satisfied with what happened there. There's no way that this can go without the whole House being given the opportunity to debate it. The heavens can come down, but that one, the whole House will have to debate it and come out with the decision. It's not the Speaker that has to declare the vacation of the seat. Okay? When they say something is automatic, it is somebody that must make it automatic. To start with, the attention must be drawn that the person has been absent for more than 15 sittings. I should say for 15 sittings. 15 or more sittings. There must be some search to know that the Speaker has not given a written permission. These are questions of facts. And that cannot be established just by an individual. The Speaker, every day, I give permissions. And there's no way that with this heavy load on me, I'll be able to say that, oh, I didn't give this one permission. Or I gave this one 10. I gave this 20. No. You must get a team to do a research, to survey, get all the permissions, and go to. Don't forget, they are human beings. And they can be subjected to influences.
Let's do some education and let's work together as a team. That's the plea of the newly appointed Acting Director General of the Ghana Education Service, Dr. Eric Nkansa, as he fully assumes his post this week. The government appointee is facing stiff opposition from the National Council of the Ghana National Association of Teachers, NAT, and which has given an ultimatum of November 4, 2022 for the president to revoke his appointment. Even before the dust settles, another teacher union calling itself the Teachers Forum in the Ashanti region is adding that Dr. Nkansa has a proven track record and have risen through the ranks in the education sector. President of the group, Michael Mensah, who paid a courtesy call on the Director General, called on all teacher groups to support Dr. Nkansa.
We heard that Dr. Eric Nkansa has been appointed Acting Director General Ghana Education Service, and hearing that, we thought it wise to come and pay him a visit, congratulate him, and then rally our support behind him, and then also to offer some few critical pieces of advice to him. On this premise, I want the teaching fraternity here in the country to come together for all of us to rally our support behind him, because we know he is capable of delivering to the expectation of all. Because quite the few days that he was appointed, we've seen what he has been doing. For now, he has been patrolling or visiting some schools within the Greater Accra metropolis, and then we hope and do believe that he's going to make it for other regions to also have a first-hand interaction with him. As he goes, he interacts with management, teachers, and the students at large to share with them his policies and what he is capable of doing. And then looking at his background, he is a true educationist, somebody who has taught at the basic level. He also taught at Kintampo Senior High School, and then he has been a lecturer of good standing, a senior lecturer, of course, at the university for 12 good years.
Away from education, after close to 6 months in hospital, the 9-year-old girl whose hand was literally boiled by her stepmother at Guaso in the Hafo region has been discharged from the Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital. Stephanie's deteriorating hand was brought to the attention of health officials late amidst fears of amputation through a series of surgeries and treatment largely sponsored by management of the Mensin Gold BBNA Limited and other donors. Her hand has been saved, but doctors say she will need a series of physiotherapy sessions to regain function of some of her fingers. Love FM's Erastus Asaridonko has been following her treatment in our report.
The wife of a Pentecost elder, Reverend Stephen Nketia, who brought the girl to stay with her, held her hands in boiling water for taking her 2 cedis. For 6 agonizing months, little Stephanie has gone through pain in an attempt to save her hand from amputation. Dr. Emil Tano is head of the plastic surgery team that attended to her.
When she came for the first time, the hand was almost cooked. We have to improve the function of the hand. And I think that we are able to achieve that, even though we didn't get 100%. Now she will be able to use the finger to grab something or to write. And then we'll continue now with the hand physiotherapy to improve the function further. Maybe in future we may need to, to do maybe some few corrective surgeries here and there. But now I think that what we have is quite satisfactory.
Stephanie is happy and grateful to be discharged, but worries about the state of her hand now.
It was quite an unfortunate incident.
Esther Nyakumbuatin, Principal Nursing Officer in charge of the D2C Benz unit, explains the result attained.
We've been able to get this far. It's not the best though, but it's one of the best results considering how the injury came. It came quite late, so we couldn't do a lot for her, but then we've done our best. We prayed that people would prevent burns in their homes so that these incidents will not come.
Individuals, including the husband of the accused and the Waduma Foundation, donated to her upkeep.
God bless you. We pray for strength and ability for you.
But Mensin Gold BBNA Limited took over all her surgeries and medical expenses, including money for her upkeep. Emmanuel Edu is sustainability manager of the company.
At Mensin, one of the core principles in our community engagement is to follow our corporate mothers Asante Care principle. We look at some of these things that are very heartbreaking, that you need intervention for the survival of the needy. And board and management or executives of Asante were happy to support Mensin Gold to make sure that we provide the required support to making sure that Stephanie regains her health, regains her hand, and gets reintegrated into society, especially for her to go back to school. And so we are very excited. We will continue to engage all relevant stakeholders so that whatever she may need, we will look at what we are capable of doing, consider it, and probably come appropriately.
Police say they are ready to continue with prosecution of the woman at the center of the abuse, who has since been going to court. Reporting for Joy News, Erastus Asaridonko, Kumasi.
We're still live on Joy News today. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. We'll take a break. When we return, we'll bring you the very latest from the business world.
Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Powell. Some workers of the Volta aluminum company, VACO, have today protested poor working conditions and what they describe as mismanagement of the company by executive management. They also claim the reabsorption of old retirees is not helping the company grow. The workers are therefore calling on government, the majority shareholder, and all relevant authorities to intervene to prevent the company from collapse. Some of the workers spoke to Joy Business.
Okay, my name is John Tegan. I've been in Baku for about 12 years now. We are gathering here to express our dissatisfaction with our management. Now we are beginning with retirees. Why we don't want the retirees again in this plan? We have allowed them for about 10 years now, but their involvement in Baku operations is not, profiting the plant. In fact, it is even affecting the industrialization of the country, because if Baku is not doing well, it will definitely have effect on the nation's move as in the way of developing the country into industry. Now, why don't we want the retirees around? One is because of their decisions making in the plant. It's not helping the plant. Why should we have hand over a plant of 100% capacity to a leadership, and then as we stand forward in the state of 12 years, the capacity has been dropped to 40%. Okay, of $5 billion as in purchases, and then also another decision making again in the plant as in the selling operations. We lost about $3 million as in operation, and this is for management. How are we going to make profit? How are we going to grow? So on this basis, we think the management doesn't have the competence to run the plant, and therefore we hear that government will put them aside and bring in new leadership.
The reason why we are here today is that last year, my name is Frank, and the reason why we are here as union members, we have stopped the work is last year during the negotiation between our local union and our management. There was an agreement that after the negotiation, there was a percentage we want to give us, which we don't want to accept. But they put something across that we can look at it. So they said after the meeting, they will have a committee to look at our wage, which is a restoration. So meaning every quarterly or going, they will have a committee so that they can look at that, so that always they will be restoring us. But it hasn't been done. So this year, during our wage opening, we meet them and we tell them we want the restoration because our purchasing power has eroded.
And those were some workers at VACO protesting this morning. In other news, mobile money agents in the Busumtri district of the Ashanti region are also protesting against MTN Ghana's mobile money direct cash-in transaction system. According to the group, the introduction of the system will adversely affect their commission on transactions. Spokesperson Daniel Mate says members want the normal cash-in routine to continue.
MTN mobile money transactions are hodo aye no say obi ba ye nche be send diska e dia komo bi fufuro no nipa ne ba ye mfa nto ne phone so na ye transfer say be ya aban ne betimi ate ni levy charges na dey afrim ye hunu say sa na ye koso a say ye gitum ne say koso a e be ma ye dwuma ye no aba fom.
The attention of the Atunsu Busumtri mobile money agents has been drawn to a circulating direct cash-in transaction, which MTN Ghana is embarking on to impose on us as agents. They want us to stop the normal cash-in routine and rather load the customer's wallet. As agents, we cannot cooperate with the directives of the telecom giant. Our business is collapsing and we need a proper directive to improve our well-being.
Yentumi send diska free yen iPhone so fan koma other customers until say they are yen customers phone so answer ya transfer say the be ya MTN be nya charges a charge na aban no so betimi a charge 11 na free say sika ne menu ntino yen a ye hye mu awie nyina e pese de to aban nanim ye de to MTN adwumakura nim say yen bosomtwe ene Atonsu area mobile money agency one there sa sisuo we ne ye ni omo yen gintum na engine tum china.
All right, and that's business for now. More coming up at the top of the hour on the marketplace. Stay tuned. Sports is up next.
Let's do sports now on JoyNews. Today, I am Muftahu Nabila Abdullah. Black Stars head coach Ibrahim says he will need the services of foreign-based players to augment his team for the final round of the Africa Under-23 Cup of Nations qualifiers. Ghana will play DR Congo in the final round of the qualifying phase, and Tanko reckons he will need the services of players like Felix Afena-Jan to help him improve on the quality of his team.
And the only thing we want is to qualify, and I think the boys did a very good job in Mozambique before we play here. Every player who is playing outside, if he's a Ghanaian and qualify for this team, why not? I mean, we want the best for the country. It's not only about the local players, it's also about the foreign players. So we just want to have a very good side, both local and foreign. So we are going to have a mix, and then hope that we will qualify to the AFCON. All of them are motivated, of course also the technical team. The only target is Olympics, but we have to qualify to the Africa, and then through that we can qualify to the Olympics. So everyone is aware. Since 2004, all of us want to make a mark. So like I said before, we are very players so that we will have a very big chance to qualify. And we have Fatau, we have Afenijan, we have Aldin, all of them qualify for this team. Those who played under 20 previous one, most of them are there. So, I mean, we want players, so definitely we'll scout them. Time comes and then we make sure we call the best ones for the nation.
Former president of the Ghana Football Association, Kwesi Nyentechi, has described Otto Addo as a unique person in Ghana football who should not fail Ghanaians. Speaking on Prime Take, the former CAF first vice president who led Ghana to 3 World Cups said he has a team to perform better than previous coaches.
I think Otto Addo is a unique person in the setup of the Football Association because he took part in the 2006 World Cup as a player.
Yes.
Then in the 2014 World Cup, he was there as part of the technical team. And then in 2022, he's going there as a head coach. So he's had the benefit of almost every experience in the team.
Yes.
So I expect him to do well in managing the players. I expect him to do well in instilling discipline in the team. I expect him to be firm and operate according to the standards, the highest standards or best standards in coaching. I expect him to do his very best and ensure that we achieve the best in this World Cup. He should perform beyond the milestones that we have achieved in the past, because as a person, he has seen it all.
Yes.
As a player, he was part of the team that negotiated bonuses with us. So we should be able to quell any agitations about bonuses from the front of players.
I see.
From the part of the technical team, he was there as a scout. He did a lot of work. His backroom staff, he should be able to motivate them and get them to give of their best.
Yes.
He has seen a lot of coaches. He worked under Kwesi Appiah, he worked under Ratome Dukovic, yes, and then he worked under Milovan Rajvac. He should pick the best from all these people, bring all together, and build on that for this World Cup.
And this is our wrap-up sports here on Joy News today with me, Muftau Nabila Abla. We do have more sports stories on my joyonline.com and also at 2 p.m. when we come your way with sports today. We appreciate your company. Up next is World News.
Time now for Showbiz. Over the weekend, Joy Entertainment held its forum, the Showbiz Roundtable, at the Labadi Beach Hotel under the theme Music, Business and Tourism. Industry players deliberated on some pertinent issues that affect the creative arts industry, including artist PR, royalties, culture, tourism, and many others. Kofi Hayford has this report.
It was an eye-opening conversation at the Labadi Beach Hotel when industry players converged for Showbiz Roundtable, powered by Joy Entertainment and hosted by George Quay. The forum was themed Music, Business and Tourism, with a focus on contracts, artist PR, tourism, revenue, and many more. It kicked off with an insight into Ghana's revenue generators over the past few years. It'll interest you to know, in 2019, tourism placed fourth on the table of income generation for Ghana.
From them, every tourist that arrives in Ghana, the revenue, the country gets about $2,000. So this is very important that we have to look at.
Keynote speaker Rex Omar, who is also president of GAMRO, started his speech by outlining that music is business, just like any other business, and until musicians see things from that perspective, they will continue to lose a lot of money.
Based on the research I've done, 98% of people who get into music in this country don't do any business analysis. They just go in. But we must understand that music is business, just like any other business. Even an ice water seller, if he wants to just go and buy sachet water and sell, he will analyze. How much will I buy it? How much will I sell it? At the end of the day, how much will I get?
Other speakers at the forum believe the government has abandoned creative arts and tourism, which are heavily linked. Playwright Uncle Ebo White, one of the forum's keynote speakers, believes Ghana has not been blessed with leaders who care enough about the country. In Uncle Ebo White's words, nothing will compare with the creative sector if it's given the right attention.
I'm here to tell anybody that stop believing. That is what is. That is what is, because we are not interested in growing anything in this country. But I can tell anyone who cares to listen that nothing will compare with the creative sector if we are given the right attention. Yeah. Nothing. No sector. No cocoa.
And that's it for Showbiz. That's how we wrap up the bulletin this afternoon. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Many thanks for watching. For more news, log on to myjohnline.com. You'll get updates of all the developing stories. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.